Hi everyone, I'm Josh and welcome to Josh Wright Piano TV. This is a little bit different of a mic setup. Obviously, I'm just going to be talking in today's video, but I wanted to talk about a topic that I don't think gets discussed enough in this classical music realm, which is how to deal with the judgment of others. This is a topic that is quite prevalent unfortunately, and fortunately in many regards, in our little classical music world. The classical music world is very small. A lot of people know each other. And so back talking a bunch of artists is going to get back to them at some point. So not only is it good for everyone to kind of get along, but it's very important not to burn bridges. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, is not casting judgment yourself, even if you have been the recipient of a lot of judgment. I will tell you, I've been the recipient of a lot of judgment, and most of it comes from users on YouTube. So for this audience, I expose myself to a lot of criticism, and that's something that I've chosen to do. And a lot of people are so discouraged by that that they completely stop their artistic endeavors. So the second point that I wanted to make in today's video is know your motivation and drive and purpose for doing things. I think a lot of teachers love the idea of spreading a lot of good information out there to a more global audience, but they're fearful about how people will react. So even if this video can be the motivation for you to stop trolling other people's YouTube videos, or to spread a little bit more encouragement if you're usually like a silent person that doesn't comment on a lot of people's videos, if you see good content that people are putting out, especially people who are not well established in this world, throw them a comment, like their videos, give them some words of encouragement, send them an email. That really goes a long way. And I can tell you, even though I'm at a point now that I'm unable to answer every one of my emails, I generally read all of my emails, and the highlights that stick out over the years are the really good and the really mean emails. Those are, just a quick thank you is always appreciated, but I'm not saying you have to write a glowing email to someone if they put out a good video, but a quick thank you is it goes a long way. And if you are going to cast judgment on someone or give them some helpful critiques, make sure to do it in a way that's very positive. I still remember, for instance, one email, my old Beethoven Moonlight Sonata third movement email. This woman wrote me the nastiest, meanest email probably 5 years ago, and I still remember it. It's not like I'm holding on to it, and I'm not harboring any resentment toward that person. But in the beginning of the video, I say, and I've since made a pro practice on it and performed it, so I know what I'm doing with the piece now. But at the beginning of that video, I said, look, I've never sat down to play this piece. I've taught it maybe once or twice, but I've never done this. I wanted to show you how I'd go about learning it. And she went on and on about how I was doing this great disservice to Beethoven, and how dare I try to do that without perfecting it first. And that type of negativity is toxic to people. So even though I've learned to let stuff like that roll off my back, it can still stick with you over the years. And so if you are going to offer constructive criticism, make sure you tell that person that some good things that they're doing before you give suggestions. And no matter what, here's another point, here's the third point of the video, you are not ever going to please everyone. So get that out of your mind. I think it was Seth Godin who said, have a small group of people and delight them. So your job is to not make every single person in the world like what you're doing, to like your interpretation of the Rachmaninoff Second Concerto or the Bach Minuet in G or your C major scale. It's to provide great music, or to be in a great learning environment, and to delight the people that surround you in those environments. So that's one of the points that I wanted to bring up. The fourth point that I wanted to bring up is the fact that this is hard. Classical music is one of the most wonderful worlds that you could be engulfed in. And it's also, like I've said, one of the most toxic worlds you can be engulfed in, because one person can say, gosh, I love the music of Chopin, it's the greatest. And the next person say, how dare you, that's garbage. I would much rather hear Bach Goldberg variations be played. And then one person says, Andras Schiff's the greatest pianist ever. And then the next person says, Andras Schiff is a bit boring. And, he's a wonderful artist. I don't care who you are. The only person that can judge Andras Schiff is Andras Schiff, you know? So make sure that you keep things positive and realize that you aren't going to please everyone with what you're doing. So just get used to the fact that there's going to be some rejection, but that's okay. I have been in so many competitions where judges have been unbelievably encouraging. Just a shout out to Kevin Kenner. He probably doesn't even remember this. He's one of the finest Chopin players in the world. But I was 16 years old. I had just competed in the national Chopin competition, got cut the very first round. This was my first big competition. I'd done the Gino Bachauer International Young Artist competition before that, but this was like my dream to play in the national Chopin competition. And he had, the poor guy, every poor judge that has to sit there for like, you know, hundreds of hours that week listening every single day, I think is a 2-week competition. He sat down with me at the gala where he should have been drinking and celebrating and having a great time. And he thought back, he said, oh yeah, I have my notes here. And that just meant so much to me. I'm almost getting emotional about this because that he would take notes for someone who clearly wasn't going to win that competition, and to spend time really helping cultivate that. That's been like a great hope throughout all of my competitions, because so many judges are so mean. That very same competition, I remember handing a judge one of my Chopin Etudes CDs, and she said, I don't want this. Give me this in 20 years. I don't want to listen to this garbage. And I was like, oh my gosh. So just realize that, again, you're not going to please everyone, but you are going to have your purpose, and you will find people who are there to support you. And generally, the quietest people are the most accomplished. So you don't see Sergei Babayan or Susan Duhlmeyer or Logan Skelton or any of these other teachers who have influenced my life greatly, like Awadagin Pratt, Boris Slutsky, Robert Dorso. You don't see them getting on and trolling people on their videos. These are people who have great respect for the learning process. So my fifth, and we'll call this the final point of today's video, is choose who you let influence you and take their criticisms and encouragement to heart. So I have a very small group of people who and this isn't to say, ooh, I'm so special, I only let these people in. I have a very small group of people that I let influence me heavily. So I have kind of a little bit of a shield. I'm always open for suggestions. That's why I have this microphone, and I have special mics inside the piano to get that sound, because so many of you said, we need your mic to be better. Or, enough of you have commented about my haircut, and I'm not changing it for you guys, because, if I cut it, you guys some are happy, and if it's long, others are happy, and other people say it's the ugliest haircut ever. So anyway, that's a side note, but just a little humor in here. But the people that I listen to are on a very short list. And the reason that's so helpful is when others cast judgment, I say, is it in my core group of people that I listen to? And if it is, I'll take it to heart, and I'll say, okay, I probably need to change that. I really need to go through and rework this passage, or, oh yeah. But if you're a person who wants to put content on the internet and you go through and you take to heart every single comment, you will get so depressed because you cannot please everyone. I've had so many people say, like, something that I feel like I play well is the first Chopin Ballade, and many people say, wow, you play that so well. Other people say, you have no idea what you're doing. You're counting this all wrong. I had a guy even email me saying, you're not counting this wrong. And I went to Juilliard, and I know that how this is meant to be counted. Well, Christian Zimmerman doesn't count it precisely either, but I think you should. And I'm like, oh my goodness, stop wasting your time. If Christian Zimmerman's not doing it, why are you reprimanding me about it? But he wasn't in my inner circle, so I just ignored the email. It was not anything that, I took to heart and I got super depressed over. I did that early on. When I was first making YouTube videos, I got depressed over comments. Like, people would use profanity in the comments. I remember one that was pretty hilarious in hindsight. It was finding inspiration, and the guy just said, F you, Josh. So you're going to get all sorts of comments like that. But I've also received some of the most heartwarming, messages. I remember this one woman was a truck driver with her husband, and she made this amazing little compartment for her piano that hooked up to the electronics, and then like it became her couch or her bed. And she said, I'm following along with your pro practice videos and I'm learning so much, and things like that. Or Kevin Kenner, or any of the teachers that I've mentioned on this video who have influenced my life. That makes it all worth it. So look at the positives, take the negatives for what they are, and create a circle of influence of people you're going to listen to and people you aren't going to allow to bring you down. That's a very healthy thing psychologically, and something that has really helped me in my life. I hope today's video, I know I've rambled a lot and given you a lot of funny different examples, but I hope that this is a message of encouragement for those of you who are wanting to create but are a little scared to do so. Go ahead and create. Put out your best content you can for the level you're on, and don't think, oh, this has to be perfect. I've got to, sit on this piece for another 10 years before I ever publish it. Publish your work in progress and just say that in the description. Look, this is a work in progress, but I'm so excited to share this with you. And if you get a few negative comments, fine, but you will get the positivity that you're looking for from certain individuals because you're putting yourself out there. You're being courageous. So I hope this has been a little bit of like a little mini motivational speech for any of you who are discouraged, who have been influenced by negative comments or critiques of others, who are not believing in yourself, who need a little positive encouragement. Keep going. Keep creating, and realize that this wonderful world of classical music, even though it has its egos and even though it has its harsh criticisms, is one of the greatest communities to be a part of. I really do feel that way. Nowhere else in the world will you find such a sophisticated art form that is as fleeting as music. Yes, visual art is forever. I have a beautiful painting right there. I look at that every day and it's forever, but it's not changing. Music changes constantly. So it's such a magical world to be a part of. I hope this video has helped you today. If any of you have any questions, I will do my best to answer your emails, but again, I can't promise that I'll be able to answer every one of them. So if you can, keep them short if you do have a pressing question. I'll leave a few links in the description below. One of them is for a free webinar containing 10 of my favorite practice tips, 2 links for 2 of my paid courses, and then the final link will be for my kit, which is all the gear that I use to record these videos. So if you're wanting to put out some good content, you can check out that kit for some recommendations of gear that I like and that I've accumulated over the years. You don't have to go buy this nice of a microphone or this nice of a camera for your very first video, but these are things that have really helped to take the quality of my videos to a little bit higher of a level. Have a great week. Good luck in your practice sessions.